On the night of May 31st, 2009, Air France Flight 447 departed from Rio de Janeiro, bound for Paris. On board were 228 people, families, business travelers, couples returning home, and crew members beginning another routine shift. The aircraft, an Airbus A330, was among the most advanced and trusted jets in commercial aviation. Weather forecasts showed scattered thunderstorms over the Atlantic, but nothing alarming. As the plane climbed through the night sky, everything appeared perfectly normal. No distress calls, no signs of trouble. Then somewhere over the vast, dark ocean, it disappeared. For hours, no one knew what happened. Families waited anxiously at Charles de Gaulle Airport as hours turned to silence. A high-tech jet, operated by experienced pilots, had simply vanished, without a trace, without a call for help. But when wreckage was eventually found, the truth began to surface, and it would shake the aviation world to its core. The crash wasn't caused by terrorism or a catastrophic engine failure. There was no mid-air explosion. In fact, nothing on the aircraft actually broke. What brought Flight 447 down was something far more chilling: confusion inside the cockpit. As the plane flew through high-altitude turbulence, tiny sensors on the outside of the aircraft, called pitot tubes, iced over. These tubes measure airspeed, and when they froze, they began feeding faulty data to the autopilot and cockpit displays. The autopilot disengaged automatically, and control was handed back to the pilots. But the cockpit turned eerily silent. The pilots, unaware they were flying into a stall, began pulling the nose of the aircraft upward, the exact opposite of what should be done in such a situation. Here's the haunting part. The aircraft's engines were working. The wings were intact. Every major system was functional. But because of conflicting instrument readings and a lack of clear training on high-altitude stalls, the crew unknowingly flew the aircraft into a deep aerodynamic stall and held it there. For nearly 4 long minutes, the plane was falling, silently, at more than 10,000 feet per minute. In the darkness, over open ocean, 228 people sat unaware of the terrifying descent. No one, not even the passengers, realized what was truly happening. And then, impact. When the black boxes were recovered 2 years later from the ocean floor, investigators listened to the final minutes of the flight and were stunned. The pilots were confused, unsure of what the instruments were telling them. The co-pilot repeated, "I don't understand what's going on," seconds before the crash. It was not negligence. It wasn't recklessness. It was a perfect storm of minor malfunctions, automation reliance, and human reaction. Air France Flight 447 didn't fall because of a broken machine. It fell because, in a moment of uncertainty, human beings had to take over a machine they no longer fully understood. The crash led to sweeping changes in pilot training, especially in how crews are taught to handle high-altitude stalls and automation failures. Simulators around the world began to include scenarios just like Flight 447's. Silent stalls at cruising altitude. What happened to Flight 447 reminds us. Even in our most advanced machines, in the age of autopilot and satellite tracking, small failures can still lead to tragedy if we forget how to fly through the chaos. If this story moved you, watch next. How one crash changed aviation forever. It dives into a crash that rewrote the rules of airline safety, forever altering how we fly. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life aviation stories, respectfully told and deeply explored.